While I'm here, I'm going to just use this as a marking spot to mark this hole. That's a pretty good mark. Alright, there's my top, there's the bottom. Good mark. And I marked those holes, top and bottom, before I took the metal out of it, and I put me a little dot right there, and I drew a square line over, and I connected this square line and this square line with a straight line here. I can see it on this side. And this is quite a bit smaller bit than the eventual screw size. And I'm just going to start my way in. Go about halfway. See, this is my line that I'm going by right here. If I keep this drill bit centered with that line visually, and try to meet that other hole. And no, I don't know why this thing makes that funny rattling noise. It sounds like it's on hammer drill, but it's not. So I had connected those two holes with that drill bit. I'm gonna leave that bit in there and look and see where it came out the other side. All right, it looks in line with this and my center line. If anything, it's a teeny bit left of center, just a touch, maybe even a half a touch. So I need to go angle that thing over just a little bit. If I can do that, and I'm going to do it with it facing me. You can ooch a hole a lot better when you're looking at the tip of the drill bit. You can see it down through the hole, you can see it coming at you, and you can guide it. Now I've got the hole straightened out. I'm going to put the larger drill bit in and drill the correct size hole. See, the large drill bit will follow a smaller hole. It's uncanny, but one drill bit will follow another one if you just let it. Okay, so that's that screw, and it's a fairly tight fit actually. If it's a perfect drill, a perfect location, we're fine. But if it's not, I'll have to enlarge that just ever so slightly. Anyway, I've got to relieve this about a 1/16 deeper here at the back. It's the front, it's okay, but the back's got to go down. And I think I'll probably be better off to do that on the mill. It feels like it grabbed those threads. It did. It's the first time I've put it in since I drilled that hole. I think I deepened it too much because I can feel the thread sticking out the top. And it's probably bending that piece of metal down. So I need to fill that in. Up here on the front is smooth. And I haven't even put that front screw in, but I put this middle one in. The middle one's the one that does all the work. Yeah, I shouldn't have taken much out of that bottom. I'm about 2.5 threads showing right there. So I'll put a shim back in there and build that back up a little bit and epoxy it. I can do that. Now I've got to put the hammer, I don't even know what they're called. This gun is a little bit different. It's not a side lock and it's not a total box lock. It's got separate little hammers that go inside. I've got to mill them out. And I finally got to the bottom of that safety, why it was so belligerent. It's pretty decent now. And I've got this screw perfect. It goes in where it's supposed to go in, and it jams tight, and the slot is north and south. This in here, this is the one that does all the work. I'm gonna have to do something that I don't really like to do, but this is epoxied in back here and right here, and I'm afraid to pull on this trigger guard, and the trigger guard's going to cover up a big strip back through here. I'm going to relieve an area and put a screwdriver underneath the back of that thing to pry it out. I just don't have any choice right here. Make myself one little bitty ramp to put a screwdriver in there, tuck it in real tight, and pry the back of that thing out. Yep, that worked. It turned loose, which is what I needed. All right. Really nice. I like the way that bedded down inside there and back here. That turned out really good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that bedding alone for the rest of the night and let it harden up. And then I'm going to come in and trim off the excess. See, around your bolt holes, your screw holes, you get little build up, and you got to get rid of that stuff, or the bolt gets so tight it don't want to fit in there nicely. So you got to trim that excess off of there. It comes out like that, just a little round fuzzy piece. But it really gets in your way if you leave it alone and don't get it out of the way. Sometimes I just run a drill bit back through it, clean it up, but it's too spongy right now. I'm going to wait till tomorrow and clean it out of there tomorrow when it's hardened. Good night. So I bedded this yesterday with epoxy. After I get done with using epoxy, I drop these metal pieces that I put wax all over and smoke all over. I drop them into a dish of diesel fuel, let them soak, preferably all night. I get a lot more grime and dirt out of guns than usually when they were even brought to me, because it's just always good to give somebody their gun back in clean working condition. So that's the only way I know to get the wax off. And if you don't get the wax off, you're going to have trouble when you touch wax to this wood surface and you introduce wax or oil and then you start trying to finish it. It gives you a lot of grief and woe. So I get the wax off and get the smoke off and get them real good and clean before I start go any further from that point. And after I soak them in diesel, I take compressed air and blow it out of everywhere I can't see, and then I take a paper towel and Q-tips and get the rest of it off. That's pretty clean. And then I have to trim off the excess epoxy that came out where I don't want it to be, because that's going to get in my way when I try to reassemble the gun. I like the way this turned out down in this pocket. That's super good. I feel real good about the strength of this thing holding itself together with that there. Now the next thing of any major issue is these hammer releases, and they're kind of an odd bird. These things fit in like so, and there's a hole, and there's a pin, and that has got a spring right here on the top of it that pushes out. So when you put this thing in, that spring, you have to compress that spring in to get this hole to line up. All right, the next thing I have to do is mill out a place for these to sit, because this thing goes together like so, and then these go in, as far as I can tell, they go in after this top is in place. I could be wrong about that, but I don't know that you can put these in. I know you can't put them in with the bottom metal in place because you can't get to it. And you can't put this in with these in place and slide it in, because you gotta go. I may have to rethink this a little bit, but I'm thinking you've got to put these in place after you put the top in, then put your, these are sears, really. They're just, that's all they are. They're sears in a kind of a modern way. So I'm going to have to mill out where they go in the sides of this bottom. And once I do that, then I can proceed and try to figure out in what order they go in. More later. I'll have to get back to you on that.